You ever think about quitting?
It's the combat of life hammering the snot out of you.
Well, stand by, dig in deep, and get ready to get fired up with us.
Welcome to the Team Never Quit podcast, the #1 podcast that inspires you to fight on. I'm your host, David Rutherford, here with Mr. Never Quit himself, Marcus Luttrell.
Our mission is to help you embrace the suck of life, to teach you the values of working your ass off, and to interview the most hard-charging people on planet Earth.
We know life is hard. It's time for you to suck it up, Buttercup, and let us teach you to persevere in every environment imaginable by sharing real-world lessons learned by those who never quit. That's right. It's time, Marcus, for us to help them defeat the negative insurgency in their lives.
You fire me up. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's roll.
Let's roll. Marcus Luttrell, I gotta tell you something, man. When I hear that intro pipe off and I start hearing that jingle in my head, and I know I get to sit across you, and I think about you in front of that microphone, and I see you going big, I get all fired up, brother. And I don't know, do you feel the same way when you look at my ugly mug in the morning like this?
That's what I was telling the wizard, man. I go, he wanted to do something before you got here. I'm like, just wait for Rut here, because whatever that energy you have in there, and I don't feel good, right? I mean,
you got you're a little stuffy.
A little stuffed up, man. But once you get fired up, I just roll. That's how I roll, man. Once the boys get fired up, it doesn't matter what we're doing, how I feel. I'm ready to roll.
It's on.
Yeah.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, ready? We welcome you to the greatest show on earth, man. Welcome to the Team Never Quit podcast. This is the greatest podcast that you'll ever listen to for a couple reasons, man. It's one, because when you come on here, you're going to get a heavy dose of positivity, a heavy dose of high energy, a heavy dose of authentic stories that hopefully are going to ignite you into becoming the legend that's inside you, right? Because our mission here, right, is to bring on the greatest guests from all around the world, all different walks of life, to share with us their greatest never quit stories. And Marcus, we've heard some doozies, haven't we?
Oh, man. Incredible. From the most incredible people on the planet, in their field and out of their field.
And that's what I love. I love the potential when we get people on and we're totally shocked when somebody tells us a story that we totally didn't expect, right? We look at each other.
That's how you know it's catching. Yeah, exactly. When it's catching on, when they just break that down, and that's when you sit back in your chair, push the microphone back, and be like, all right, let them roll.
Totally. And your mouth, I mean, I sit here, I've caught several times, have my mouth open, catching flies going, I did not expect to hear that, man.
Nope, that didn't happen like that. No way. But you know it did, man, because when you hear them in their voice, like, yeah, that's how it goes down. I'm like, all right, man. All right, cool.
And I'll tell you what, we got a doozy coming on today, for sure. The guy we coming on, and I'll introduce him here in a second, is perhaps, he is at the top of his field, the apex of his field, and I just feel so blessed that he's coming on. But before we get there, if you're a first-time listener, let me just explain what the TNQ podcast is all about, all right? Marcus and I got together here with the wizard over behind the magic curtain over there, and we figured, man, we got to bring a show to people that's going to change lives. And that is our #1 focus, our #1 mission. And the way we do that, like I said, is we first bring you on and you're going to hear an awesome story about it in history, either about a person that had an impact, a never quit story, an event in history that if you really dig into it, you're going to pull a lot out of it. And we got one of those for you. Then we get in, we bring our guests on, we give them a mad minute, and you'll hear that, and that's always hilarious. And then we listen to these incredible stories that, man, Marcus, again, man, some of the things that we've heard, I mean, if those stories don't change lives, I don't know what will.
No. I mean, that's the great part about it, is each story is unique to that person and how great they are and whatever it is they were trying to do. But what got them there is the same as everybody else.
Right?
I mean, it's
same problem.
If that's the one thing we point out here is the line going through there. It's not this special degree or the amount of money or where you're from or anything like that. It's that basic belief in yourself and the love for your friends and people around you.
I mean, that's it. And I mean, and then that's what we're trying to prove to all you that are listening. You know, this is not rocket medicine. You don't have to be a jet fuel specialist or whatever it is. All you got to do is dig down deep in your heart and figure out these core concepts that give you that never quit mindset. All right, so let's jump into this thing. Let's get this thing rolling. And before I do that though, if you want to know more about us, please go visit the website at teamneverquit.com/podcast, or you can simply type in tnqpodcast.com. That'll pull it up. You can find the podcast on iTunes, right? Simply download us, subscribe to us on iTunes. You can subscribe to us on our website. You can go to SoundCloud, Stitcher. Man, you can find us all over social media. We'd love to have you become a part of the team, all right? And one of the things that we really strive for is if you listen to if you like what you hear and you dig it, then please go to the website and share your greatest never quit story with us, right? Share your greatest, or if you have a friend or family member, go ahead, write in or upload a video telling that greatest never quit story. And if they're awesome, if they're amazing, then Marcus and I will read them on the air for you. And if they really blow us away, Marcus,
you're coming here.
You're coming.
Right.
You're getting on the show with us. You're going to deliver that never quit to the millions of people out there paying attention.
Look in your eyes and watch you tell it.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And it's going to be awesome, man. So, we're sponsored here by the Team Never Quit, right? And this is the organization that Marcus had a dream for a long time ago, to bring together great people to do great things, to make an impact in this life. If you want to check us out, again, go to the store. We've got ammunition. We've got great merchandise. We've got a bunch of amazing speakers. If your organization is looking for a motivational speaker, an emotional speaker, an inspirational speaker, check them out there. Hire one of our incredible group, and I'm telling you what, your team will never be the same. All right, Marcus, let's get into this historical story, all right? So based in similarity to the guests we got coming on, what the Wizard went out and did is found somebody that was at the apex of their profession. And so today's person we're going to talk about is a guy named James Edward Corbett, or Jim Corbett. Now, this guy was a British Indian hunter, right? That lived in India, and he had gone into the British Indian Army, worked up the way the rank of colonel. And he was in the United Provinces, or the states of Uttar Pradesh. I never get those Indian names.
I don't even try to say that out loud. I can't even believe you tried to say that. Just say India. What was that about? You know what? You woke up smart this morning, didn't you?
I like to think I did, but it's not true. It's just an act. All right, so what's so cool about this guy is that at a certain point, he began to realize that there was an epidemic in India at this time, right? And he lived from July 1875 to April 1955. But when he went over there, he realized that there was a huge problem, Marcus. And you know what that problem was, dude?
Daggers.
There were tigers. There were a lot of tigers, and that they were eating people.
I mean, if you talk about a country and what you hear about is their most majestic animal is it's a man-eater, a problem.
Its greatest threat.
It's not a problem, really. I mean, it's his place, right?
Yeah. It's his environment.
It's not his problem. It's our problem.
Right.
He's eating our ass, not the other way around.
And just to give you an example of how big that problem is, and you can imagine, now we got to think about records in the early 1800s in India and all that stuff. But let me just throw this number at you, all right? From 1800 to 2009, India has, are you ready for this? You ready for this?
Yeah.
373,000 tiger deaths recorded.
That's amazing.
That's significant, dude. How many people
dumb that redneck that down for you? How many people, Wizard, have we lost in the wars?
I mean, it's up around like 400,000 or 500,000.
Right,
I mean, 600,000
for the country, right?
For the country, since the beginning, yeah, yeah.
So rally up all our boys to go into a fight since then, and that many has been eaten by tigers.
Hey, do you know?
How do you go into combat or over somewhere knowing your ass going to get eaten by a tiger? I mean, my biggest thing was getting eaten by a shark. I just did not like the idea of getting eaten, right?
You did, yeah.
But there's not
something
that many
disturbing about that.
staggering shark eating deaths, right? It's not in the 400,000s. I'm probably
No,
sure.
You're right there.
I probably have that
we have
many
not
people-
had that problem. All right, so I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, great. I love tigers. It's my favorite animal. In fact, Wizard's favorite animal is tigers and
Yeah.
owls, and I don't understand that. But you got to hear us out on this, all right? Because this guy was squared away because he saw this problem and he went in there and he becomes this hunter of man-eating tigers and leopards. And he was in Kumoan, that region, and he went out there and he tracked these things down. I mean, there was one tiger, right, that allegedly that killed the Chippewa tiger, right, that was responsible for 436 deaths, Marcus. Now, I don't know about you, but like I don't want to go in anything.
That's busy. That's
I mean,
a lot, man. You got to think of. So he's hunting for sport. That's sport killing, right?
I don't know.
I mean,
man.
tigers are big, though.
Technically, you could
They're
actually.
the biggest, right? Tigers are the biggest.
They're
the
huge.
Big, right.
But what you're thinking, I mean, technically, he's protecting the folks of that region. I mean, it's not like he's like,
Oh,
all right,
sure.
this is going to be a hooyah fun. I got to just go put a pelt on my wall.
Look at these dumbass humans done moved into my backyard. I mean, I'm getting some,
He's
right?
like, I'm going to get some food.
Right.
That's easy. So the tigers are doing
I'm
it.
bored. I'm just hanging out here. I'm going to go kill a human.
So I think that what Jim realizes, man, I mean, obviously, once they heard he was proficient at this, how good of a hunter was, they came to him and said, please come after us. Right now, a lot of the Wizard just let us know that a lot of tigers out there, what they would do if they became injured or hurt or whatever, that's when they would become the man-eaters.
That's the way I would be. I'm going to venture out and say that's the cause for most animal attacks, right?
I don't
Unless
know,
you're
man.
coming in, if it has, I'm not talking about a mother now.
Right.
That's different.
Protecting the
Yeah,
young.
yeah, that's different. I'm talking about when you just the random attack on the human man. There's usually something they've had to sustain an injury.
Right.
I mean, hunted my whole life, so
Right.
I've always heard that, and I figured
And what's cool though
if
about
that's the deal with tigers, it's got to be they're up at the top of the
they're the apex
Right.
predator, right?
right, and it's the same with sharks. Sharks, they'll do that if they have something going on with their head, if they're injured as well.
They're going to attack to survive.
Right.
But here's my point about this guy. And what really kind of appealed when the Wizard brought him to me is that, here's this guy. And imagine, like, hunting wasn't sophisticated like it is today, right? Where you got all the badass equipment and all that. I mean, it's just literally, this guy was walking around that high grass in the jungles. And you know the way jungles are, man. You can't see 5 feet in front of you. You're in their backyard. But he went out there.
I'll tell you what. This is you're a frog man. You know
Yeah.
doing this with weapon systems.
Yeah,
When you go out and hunt, and the way it is today, when you go out and hunt big game like that, I don't hunt cats,
right.
but I know people who do. The hardware is the same. The caliber, I mean, you're talking about them old break open
Right.
big bore guns.
Right.
What's changed is the optics and the balls on the man hunting,
Check.
right? I mean, that's about that I always said.
That makes a lot of sense to me now. You just summed it up, right? I mean, because Jim's balls must have been gigantic.
Oh, no, I didn't have a night for scope like old Marcus Luttrell does. I don't have to get within 4 feet to smell what tiger blood had for breakfast. You know what I mean? I tell you, he probably had human for breakfast. If he's out there hunting them, right?
Totally.
Because he's not hunting. He's hunting the ones that.
Oh my gosh. What I appreciate about this dude's story is that, man, he rogered up, like you said, he let those gigantic cojones lead his way to protect these villages or whatever, and gets out there and goes after him. Now, the coolest part about this whole story is that he wasn't just some British, crazy out there putting things up on his wall. This guy ultimately became a guy that started the first conservationist national park in India.
Oh, it's amazing.
And that's what I love about him.
You got. I mean, coming from this side of it, no one, and I know people. You have both sides. You have the hunters, and they think the animal activists. We're opposite.
Right.
Everyone thinks that. Man, no one loves animals more than us. We take care of them. And what he was doing, he wasn't saving those people from the tigers, right?
Right.
He was saving the tigers from the people, because if those tigers kept killing, eventually people are going to start killing them back until you eradicate them. That's what fear does.
Exactly.
And if you're getting eaten, obviously you're going to be afraid. I get that. Okay.
If something starts eating on me, I'm going to kill everything around.
Like we exist together. This is our Earth.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Absolutely.
together. And if we happen to be higher up on the food chain than the things we hunt. I mean,
Right.
Humans are amazing creatures.
Yep.
Correct.
Absolutely.
So when we go out and we do it, I mean, like I hunt for food, no more, no less. I don't poach. If I can't kill the animal, I won't take a shot. I mean,
Right.
true hunters, just like him, man, we love them so much that we feed them, nurture them, watch their injuries, heal them back up, instead of just
That's
saying, I
cool.
love them so much, I don't even want to touch them.
That's cool.
Because we don't have that obligation. We can't, not obligation. We don't have that ability anymore because there's no more where to move to.
Right.
You know, you can't expand. I live out here with them. I choose to do that.
That's
I do not
cool.
hunt them out here. I enjoy, I love living with them.
And I think that guy probably did the same. I mean, why else would he have done
start
it?
Start that
national park, the first national park, right?
Corbett National Park, yeah, the Tiger Reserve.
And back then, I mean, that was unheard of. People didn't get that, right? And they to do that and to know that they needed to be protected in an environment where they could have their own habitat.
It's their place,
right?
yeah.
It's theirs. So
And people look at it like, you just cordon them off to this section of land and anything. Well, I mean, the cities are doing that. We're cutting that down anyways.
Yeah.
And they are thriving here, which means it was their habitat to begin with. It's okay.
Right.
And all we're doing is working the perimeter to make sure no one gets in to kill them.
Yep.
All right. I mean, we want them to thrive here if they need some more land. I mean, look, if you've seen this place, it's unbelievable. There's not
Yeah.
just tigers on there.
Yeah,
There's elephants.
everything.
And if you have
Leopards,
elephants on something, all right, it's huge. Because elephants tear down everything just to scratch their ass, okay? And I mean, if they got those big boys, I don't hunt elephants either. I love looking at them, and
They're cool.
oh man, they will tear some stuff up just because
They're giant.
yeah, man, because they're in a good mood. It's not tearing it up; it's having a good time.
They're having a good
when
time.
they sling your Chevy or your Range Rover 400 yards. I'm just saying, he wasn't pissed; he was just having a good time.
He was playing with you.
Oh man.
Well, anyways, I hope you guys hear what we're saying. And I think the most pivotal thing in that whole thing was Marcus's description of a hunter's passion for what they do. A hunter's passion for the beauty of it's more than just a sport. It's an ideology to protect species, to thrive with species, to feed their family, to be a conservationist, to really move into a place that we've forgotten now in our modern society. And so I think one of the coolest things is the guest that we are bringing on here right now. And this person, Marcus, when you talked about this guy and said, hey, man, we ought to bring this guy on. He's at the top of his profession because of this mentality, because of this ideology that he lives to the core. It blew me away. I got super fired up.
Right. He's an outstanding man. I've known him for a while now, but then what he does is unique.
It's
and how
totally-
he applies it and how he applies two different sports.
Really. And doing it in such a way, I believe, and you said this earlier, dude. You said this. Yeah.
Really?
And I tell you what, I mean, it's really cool that, this guy, he cares so much about what he does. This is his passion, his purpose. And because of that, he's able to have this never quit attitude that translates on his social media. It translates into his
He
attitude when
lives
you hear
through it.
He lives it.
Right.
He lives
and
it.
he makes a living off a good
Yeah.
one.
A great one,
I mean, I was standing beside him at that Under Armour deal the other day,
which is awesome.
which tells you how good he is at it. It's because he loves it.
And he does.
That's his life. I mean, that's what he is. And
Well,
I can't wait to get him on here.
I'll tell you what, let's get him on right now. We're back at it, Marcus, and I'm telling you, on this one, finally we got somebody that can understand what it means to be a predator in this life, what it means to get out there and hunt things down. I mean, really get that desire inside to be proficient at a skill set that it goes back for millions of years, bud.
Oh, we're about to introduce you to a guy who could have survived back in a different time.
Literally, he's reinventing.
I know,
He's
right? That's
bringing
the
it
great
back into vogue, dude. And I love that about this guy. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to introduce Cameron Hanes, world-renowned bow hunter, world-renowned ultra athlete, and just an all-around badass, man. And that's why I love the fact that you're on, Cam. So thank you so much for coming on the Team Never Quit podcast.
Oh man, I can't tell you what an honor it is. You know, when you your intro, your voice and how fired up you are. I was just sitting here just smiling, shaking my head, going,
Just wait.
You know, please,
Just wait.
you're talking about me. Awesome. I mean, it's a huge honor to be on with you guys. I can't tell you how much it means to me.
Well, thank you so much, man. It was so funny when Mel first started. You know, when we were going through our guests, and you know, as I briefed you a little bit before, we have people from every demographic in the world, because that's where Marcus and I believe that all the great stories are. That because of the human condition and what we all experience together, man, you have to hit, you know, who the greatest, you know, the youngest person ever climb Everest. We have to hit the greatest country music icon of all time. You have to hit a former governor of the great state of Texas. And now getting you on, and man, we cannot wait to dig into why you're doing what you're doing, how you're getting there, and how you're transforming sustainable hunting in a whole new way that's influencing literally hundreds of thousands of people. Man, I was just listening to your recent interview with Joe Rogan, and man, you guys were on fire on that, and the stuff you were saying was so motivating to me. Like that, Marcus, and he's the man. I mean, we're like, he's got to get on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm pumped.
Cool. All right, so the way we start the Team Never Quit podcast is with something that we call the Mad Minute. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit you with some doozy, awesome, amazing questions that we typically ask all of our guests.
People get so nervous about this because they're like, oh, I got to make sure. And then after the first question, they're like, okay, I think and then the second, we're like, oh, wait a minute. It's like this.
It's like this.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, so
great.
are you ready to get started?
I guess so. I guess I don't have a choice.
No, you're on. You're on now. You're on TNQ, baby, and we got to light the fire. So we got to start. I know you're exercising your ass off on a regular basis. We're going to exercise that prefrontal cortex right now. All right,
okay.
Here we go. Question number 1: what city were you born in?
Eugene, Oregon.
All right. If you had to watch a movie twice, what movie would that be?
Oh, I don't know. Probably. Born Identity.
Nice. All right, if you had to fight with one, which one would it be? Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Probably Arnold.
Yeah, Arnold. Yeah.
If you could sing any song as well as the artist who wrote it and sung it in front of a Super Bowl audience, what song would it be?
Oh man, it'd probably have to be any Justin Timberlake song.
Hey, thank you. I'm a Bieber guy. I'm a Bieber guy too.
Don't admit that ever on this show for me.
Hey, I got kids now, man. I know every Belieber song. All right. Don't hate. I got a 3-year-old
Justin
girl.
Timberlake, he can perform.
Dude.
He rocks.
That
dude.
new song of his rolls, man. Can't stop the feel. I caught myself like. No, I'm not even gonna say. I'm not even gonna say.
All right.
Hey, I don't have one of his songs on my phone, to listen to when I'm doing anything. But like, if you go through and one of those shows comes on where it's like a live concert or something, and you stop there, he can put on a show. I mean, every person watching is just like mesmerized.
Hell, we talked about
cool
putting him in Lone Survivor. Play axe.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. He's got serious talent.
He does.
That's what I love.
Gifted,
he pushes
man.
himself to get better and better and
He's
better.
the greatest guy. I mean, you see him on Fallon. Him and Fallon. That's magical, man.
It is. That makes
it's almost as magical as me and you.
But slow down there, trooper. They never been through Hell Week yet. But I'll tell you what, man, we're going to get an opportunity. We're going to put Timberlake and Fallon. We'll take the Pepsi challenge at Hell Week.
Hey, once Dick in the Box came out, dude, I was a Timberlake fan, right? I mean, come on. Dick in the Box was the most epic song ever. That got me through Ramadi, dude. Dick in the Box and Leroy Jenkins.
That was classic.
Right?
Dick in the Box.
Oh, my God.
I mean, that made Christmas in Ramadi. I must have watched that. It's had like 1 million downloads. The Ramadi boys put half of that on there. Good one, Cam. Good one.
I can't keep going on. I'm going to bust a gun. Let's get back to. Hold on.
Dude, it's epic.
All right.
What are we doing? Are we doing a Mad Minute?
We're still in a Mad Minute. All right, let me just jump forward a bunch. All right, Beatles, Rolling Stones, or Led Zeppelin?
Probably Led Zeppelin.
We love you, Cameron. That's what I love, bud. We love that. That's awesome. All right. Do you live to eat or eat to live? This is perfect for you.
Oh, I eat to live. Yeah, I mean that's the only reason. It's just fuel to do what I want.
That's exactly how I am, man. You know, I think me and you might be in the minority class because most people say
live to eat,
right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I just consume. It's like fuel. No matter what it is.
Well, I've seen the crap that you eat in the middle of the night. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Cam and I've been hunting together, man. He'll see me in the kitchen all through the night.
He'll be like, "What are you?" You know what? You would shut Cam down if he saw you eat. He'd be like, Hall. I'm
not. Yeah, exactly. I don't.
All right. Here we go. All right. If you could pick a dream career and do something other than what you're awesome at doing right now, equally as awesome, what would it be?
Oh, it'd have to be what you guys did. It'd have to be being a SEAL. I mean, I just wish I was more focused when I was young, just because of what you guys, I don't know, what you guys do is something everybody looks up to. It's so important for the country to be so focused so young, to, I don't know, take on such a big responsibility. I just wish I would have. I mean, because I love camaraderie, like the brotherhood you guys had, and doing something meaningful. And I don't know. I wish I would have done that. You know,
we were impacting plenty of people, brother.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Thanks a lot.
Your time was
Cam,
different than ours. That's we caught it. That's
you know
it,
what,
man? It's the
man?
same thing. You're doing.
I appreciate it. We do very much. But what we love is exactly what you talk about, because you could ask every team guy out there, what are the greatest memories, and it's the friendships, right? It's spending time. It's like you and Joe being out there this past few days and shooting bears together, and me and Marcus just shooting the shit around his barn while I'm out here with him, and that's the beauty of
almost
it.
killing our buddy with a spear. I mean, dude. Right? That was epic. That's a story, man. We will remember that forever. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, he lived through it.
All right.
Even if he didn't, we'd still talk about him, right?
All right, last bad minute
dude.
question for you, Cam. Here you go. Ready?
Yeah.
What is your greatest achievement of your whole life?
Oh man, it's I guess I'm really proud of my kids, and I have a 22-year-old and 19-year-old, 2 boys, and a 12-year-old girl, and my boys are they're smart, they're mature, they work hard, and they're respectful. And that, my daughter, of course, is perfect angel, and they're all just, I don't know, I'm just very proud of that. I know it's not.
Hey, brother. Hey, let me tell you something, man. Everybody we've had on here that we've looked up to, that I've looked up to, and every one of them has said their kids. And that just says everything you need to know about it. I mean, all your successes, your fame and all that stuff like that. And people who don't, because some people could say, oh, my first trophy or my first golden glove, this, that, and the other.
That.
But the people that just put all that bullshit to the side and be like, kids.
Period.
I mean, damn it. Yeah. What are we talking about here? I just created something that's living, and they're productive. Boom. Drop the mic.
They're good kids.
And they're good kids.
Yeah.
Walk away and just wear the Velcro shoes, black socks for the rest of your life, be an angry man. You gave back, right? If my kids turn out okay, I'm just gonna be whatever dude I wanted. The Velcro shoes, black socks, and angry.
I'm buying you those for Christmas.
Right? I gave back to my country. My kids are productive.
Oh, well, that's it. All right, so that's a great Mad Minute to start, Kim. Thank you so much for participating in our madness. We love to suck people in on that, but that's not the reason why you're on, and that's not why the tons of listeners are tuning in right now. What they want to hear and what they've been chomping at the bit is they want to hear, what is your greatest never quit story, right? What is the one that really, where you were in that moment and you didn't think it was going to go forward, or maybe it was a series of moments over a course of a long period of time. Like for me, man, I had 4 years battling depression back when I was in college, and it was just hanging on, and it was being able to pull myself out of that and sign up for the SEAL training, and in order to become a SEAL, to live out a dream. And so that's what our listeners hear. So, brother, if you could please just drop some knowledge on us with your greatest never quit story.
Man, it's just like, seems like every day is a bunch of little battles you got to overcome. But, there's one. I don't know. There's just one that stands out to me, and it wouldn't mean anything to anybody else. But
Not supposed to. That's the beauty about it, brother. So you're right on point.
Well, it's just I've always had big dreams, probably bigger dreams than I ever deserved. I just came from a small town, and didn't really have any redeeming qualities or any special talents or anything like that. But so I've had these big dreams. So one big dream I had was in 2008, I was going to run the Boston Marathon. And at that time, Lance Armstrong had just retired from the Tour de France. I think he'd won in 2007, and he retired or something like that. And so he was going to run marathons. Well, I found out he was going to run the Boston Marathon. So I said, well, I was qualified for it. I was going to run it. And so I told, my kids and my family, I'm like, well, I'm going to go to Boston. I'm going to try to run with Lance, and maybe get a picture with him while we're running. That'd be, pretty good memento. And then, I'm going to run with him for a while, and I'm going to pull away at the end and beat him. And like my kids were like, oh, Dad, right. You're going to beat Lance Armstrong. You're just a dad. I'm like, well, okay. I hear you. So
yeah, exactly.
Sure as anything, was running, the marathon, and I didn't know where he was. He started up with the elites, and I got going, and about mile 7, I looked up there's this big group, and I saw the gold jersey up there he was wearing.
That's awesome.
I'm like, heck, that's him right there. So I got up there and started running, and we got to like the half marathon mark, and I was dying. He was running like 6.
How's he doing? Oh yeah, what were y'all moving at? What pace?
Crazy.
Yeah, like 6:30 miles because he can run, and I remember I had nothing left, and I'm like, I was behind him. I was getting ready just to drop off, and like thinking, well, hopefully somebody got a picture of me with him somewhere along the way. And, I was just getting ready just to throw in the towel and say, well, I gave it all I had, and I'm just like, I was just like going, God, why couldn't I have been an Olympic athlete? Because he was in the Olympics too,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, why couldn't I have had that talent? And so I decided, well, you know what? I'm just going to give all I got, and if I puke or pass out, whatever. At least I know. So I just caught back up with him, and I was going. I'm like giving all I got, and sure as anything, I started feeling a little bit better, and I'm like, what the heck? So we're running, and he had these pacers, and they started dropping off because they were dying. We got up to Heartbreak Hill, and he's like, he looks over at me, and he goes, is this Heartbreak Hill? And I said, I don't think so, man. I think it's up around the corner. He's like, I said, how you feeling? He's like, I'm effing dying. And I'm like,
Yeah.
But and I'm like, oh, thank God. If he's dying, I'm feeling good. Maybe I got a shot. So anyway, to make a long story short, I ran. He goes, hey, I lost my pacers. He's like, how fast you gonna run today? And I said, this took a while to talk. I was like, we couldn't talk, but he goes,
right? I mean, y'all.
I said, oh, probably like 250. And he's like, okay. He goes, I'll just stay with you if you don't mind. And I'm like, no, it's cool. So he stayed with me, and we came towards around the corner coming in the finish, and I'm like, well, here it goes. So I just took off, and I beat him by 12 seconds.
Yes!
That was it.
That's a great story, man.
That is an awesome story.
I mean, Lance Armstrong, epic, dude. It's Tour de France. I mean, talk about somebody.
Are you kidding me? And that, where does that pop in your brain? Is it just that you knew you were going to race in the Boston Marathon, but you needed something that a little extra, or was it, did you see it?
Yeah.
What was it that made you want to do that?
I don't know. I was going to run it because I'd never run it, but then he was going to run it. And he was on the cover of Runner's World magazine, and it was like they talked about, could Lance Armstrong, blah, 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 or it said like, bet you can't beat me or something like that. I remember seeing that cover, and I'm like, dang, he's running Boston. I'm running Boston, and I just, so nobody would ever think I was probably, I don't know, 39 or, obviously not in my prime. He's, I think, 3 years younger than me, and he was, one of the best endurance athletes of all time. So it didn't even seem feasible, but, it was just one of those to never give up. I mean, if I would have been by myself, there's no way I would have run that good.
Yeah, man,
but
you got somebody
there dangling, and I pushed.
Yeah, you got it.
That's pretty wild. You basically...
Well, you were running next to something like that or riding next to something like... Like Lance, I mean, that motivates you just standing there
That
because
just-
you know what that dude's capable of. That's what always fired me up about people. If I know something about him, I'm like, yo, if I just stand next to this dude, we're about to get in something crazy.
It's
You know
going
what
to
I mean?
happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. What I love about it, Cam, is you hunted down Lance Armstrong, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, first rundown.
That's pretty badass if you ask me. But what I'm floored with, and I got to tell you, and I know it caught me by surprise, Marcus. I don't know if it caught, but I was not expecting you to tell that story, bud. I was thinking that you'd been tracking a grizzly bear for 13 days and you were down to your last peanut.
That's perfect, Cam. You know what mine was? When I couldn't back a trailer down to pull some jet skis out of the water, and I left my brother, and it fucking crushed me. And I've never quit anything ever again because of that. So when I told, your story, I was like, you watch, Cam's gonna throw something at you. It's gonna come out of the left field.
It totally did.
Yeah, that's just one that was just a personal thing for me. And, I think it's probably a little bit, my dad was a big track athlete and he never hunted. So, I mean, it meant a lot. I just remember, my parents were divorced, so my dad was never around. And so I never really got that, good job, son type thing. Cause then I started hunting and he would go like, oh, well, every time you kill an animal, you lose brain cells, So instead of getting, what I was good at bow hunting. Instead of getting credit for that, I got kind of dismissed for that. But then when it came to running, and that everybody knew Lance, and I mean, he had in 2008, he was, it was before the scandals and all that. He was like revered by, everyone in the world, and so I think it means a lot to me just because it meant a lot to my dad. So.
Wow, that's cool, man. You know what? It's funny, man. When I was growing up, I was a total jock. I was an absolute knuckle dragging jock, right? My thing was football but my old man is real cerebral, right? He's a lawyer. He went to University of Michigan. He ran his own law firm and all that. And I always kind of searched for that approval from him as well, man. I always wanted to, say, hey, Pop, I'm smarter. It's in me, but I didn't know how to express it. And it wasn't until much later in life, in fact, when I wrote my first book, which was a kid's book, when I finished it, and I remember showing my dad, and I was all proud, and, I could see, like, it was something that he had always talked about wanting to do, was write a great novel.
Like we talked about, man, he just saw a little piece of him in you that you loved and were good at. Yeah. And that's all the satisfaction that Dad really, I mean, if you need something other than your son being unique at everything else, but what you're good at, kind of deal. And then, if he shows up and something like that does happen, it's great.
Well, Cam, I got a question for you. So now, that I mean, that story was pivotal in kind of that relationship in your life or your recognition of the relationship. How have you changed in terms of how you're influencing your boys and your daughter now?
I just, because I know what it's like to grow up and not have my dad there. My stepdad, there was a stepdad around, which, that was like a negative for me because nobody can really live up to the legend of your dad, especially because I didn't know his flaws or anything like that. So he was like the greatest athlete, and he grew up in Eugene here too and went to the University of Oregon. And so he was like Superman to me, and like nobody could live up to that. So to me, I know what it's like not to have a dad and not to have somebody, to be proud of you or your accomplishments or tell you they loved you. And so that's what I do for my kids. My boys, I'm hard on my boys. I mean, I expect a lot of them. Mostly I expect, I guess, them just to do their best. They don't have to be the best,
That's
just
cool.
do your best, but they know I love them and they know I'm proud of them.
Sure, it's tough as a dad. I mean, because you know what they're capable of. That's the hardest thing about being a dad, and I've learned. And you don't know that till you become a dad. Be like, hey, look, man, I know I'm being hard on you, boy. I'm training you to be a man, and I know what you're capable of. And you're obvious you don't.
Yeah,
that's why I'm the dad.
What?
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's tough.
And I want them to know what they're capable of, because I mean, I know that they're more talented than I ever was, and they're better kids than I was, and stronger, faster. But they don't know that. You know what I mean? So I just want them to realize that there's greatness in all of us. And, it took me a long time to realize that, but, so I want them to realize it early just so they can, be the best.
Hey,
they can be.
look, brother, you got to take some credit on this. It's not one of them deals where you're sitting in an office and you're behind a desk, or you're an investment banker and your kids. I mean, damn, dude, you're out there doing some of the hardest crap on the planet. When they look to their dad for motivation, it's just because you get up and go outside, right? I mean,
he does more than go outside, bud.
I'm just saying, by walking outside is motivating, because he's going to go do something crazy, right? Extreme. I mean, that's.
My question now, which is really, I'm trying to wrap my mind. When I went back and read some articles on you and stuff, it really, what was amazing was the clarity of your focus on what you do now, and really how you're pushing boundaries. You're taking it back to such a primal level, right? And we have, as you know, Marcus and I, or you should know, we have such profound respect for what you're doing. You're refining really the lost art of being a man, really, and being a hunter. A primitive hunter.
It's a hunter killer.
Yeah, a hunter killer. Literally, that's what you're doing. And then, as well as how he performs and how he provides for his family and how they eat everything and use everything. But to combine the athleticism with it too. Cam, what ignited that philosophy? What ignited that quest, that search to become the ultimate hunter?
It's a long way from running a marathon against Lance. You know what I'm talking about? That's a huge shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just I like the challenge. I mean, I like to push myself. I don't like doing things everybody else does. It just doesn't. There's no satisfaction in that. I mean, I'm sure you guys probably share that same mindset.
Absolutely.
And it a little bit. I was thinking when we were talking in the Mad Minute, we're talking about. I mentioned the brotherhood. I think you guys have, and a little bit. It's so different for me because I'm envious of your brotherhood and your relationship with your teammates and how you can rely on each other. Because what I do, like tonight, a 9-mile run, what I do, nobody wants to do. You know what I mean? It's like you guys.
Oh, I get to. Hey, yeah, right. Yeah. Like Goggins.
You guys got thrown in between from attrition and everything else. You got all are like-minded, tough, focused, and so you got all that brotherhood. Well, I don't have that because it's like nobody wants to go run. It's pretty hot here today. Nobody wants to go run on the mountain, and so basically what I do, and even on my hunts, nobody wants to really do them because it's hard. It's really hard. It's uncomfortable.
Right, because most people aren't hunter killers anymore. I mean, it's gone. It's gone. They don't have what it takes to do that. That's the unique thing about it, man. That's the beautiful part about it. I've been out there with you, man. And look, you remember what happened when I were out? I mean, I don't ever talk about it because it's one of them deals where you were there, you saw it. I carried that mule deer halfway back through there, man, and I was done. I was done, bro. I mean, and I pride myself on being a hunter killer too, and nothing. I mean,
Cam, tell me,
unbelievable.
Tell our listeners, and just in your mind, a story of where you really dug in that place where nobody else wants to go.
I mean, yeah, you said you didn't have the teammates like we did, man, but you're with the mountain. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of what we do with the water,
and
the
the
ocean,
purity
right?
of the hunt
you
and
talk
the kill.
do you talk to the trees when you're running through there? You yell at the animal. Hey, when you're out there for that long, man, you got to have you got to kill time tone, right? Or something like that gets you through that hard stuff. That's what people want to know. They want to look through that curtain and see that, right?
Yeah, our listeners want to hear what's going through your mind and on these insane things that you're doing.
Yeah, gosh, I've been on so many hard hunts in big remote country. I guess the first time, for many years when I started bow hunting, I think when I was 19, and I didn't think I had what it took I wanted to kill a big bull elk with my bow, and I didn't have money. Couldn't go get a good tag or couldn't get access to any good land, and I couldn't kill a big bull. I could kill smaller bulls, but I was like, nobody dreams of killing a spiked bull, right? So where I grew up, everybody, a 6x6 bull or something is like what dreams are made of, small town, that's legend stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do that,
Yep.
right?
Fishing story.
And so, right, and I didn't know if I had what it took. So in 1996, I think it was, I was in the Eagle Cap Wilderness. It's Oregon's largest wilderness. I think that was when Princess Di died. Actually, I think that's when the year she died, because I remember I was back in there 12 miles. I had this bull spotted, a nice 6x6, and I ended up sneaking in on him. I was by myself. I snuck in on him, and he was bedded down under these trees, and he heard me get close. I was 43 yards away. I was looking down for a place to take another step, and I heard him stand up. I heard his hooves on the rock, and I looked up, and he's standing there. And so I come to full draw, and I shot him, and I hit him perfect, and that bull went a short distance, went down, dead. And I remember sitting there, and I couldn't believe I had finally done it. I didn't know.
That's awesome.
I didn't know if I had what it took to get that done deep in the wilderness on a solo hunt with a bow. That was a huge, huge challenge for me, but that was sort of a turning point for me, because, then I started to believe in myself, and I started to think, I had doubted that was my 8th year of bow hunting, and I had doubted that whole time whether I was special enough to make it happen.
Well, it's funny, man.
Anyway.
We talk about this all the time on a show, man, that, although there's a lot of similarities in our lives with one another, man, but those special moments when you're digging deep and you're in that, like, all right, do I have what it takes? Can I endure? Can I crest over that mountain, or can I make that shot? You are by yourself in many occasions. And I think in that moment, it's all those things that we learn growing up, or all those influences, those mentors, those critical teammates or people or training that are able to, like you said, give us that confidence to go and do it again and do it again.
Yeah.
All right, for those of you who can do what you do and have that ability to be out there, to keep such a focused mind when it's you, not top of the food chain anymore.
No
the only
way.
other time that happens is when you go in the water.
And he's doing it with a bow. It ain't even like he's got a big old bolt gun or none of that nonsense either. That's what I mean.
There's a
love
lot of people
about
out there who have that individual mindset, man, and they need to know that anything's possible. What we do as a team, yeah, we get a lot of stuff done as a team. That's there's no doubt not about that, man. But you can get amazing things done. You can go as far as you can take yourself, really.
Right.
With those skill sets, with that mindset you have to be out there. And there's something, hey brother, I got that hunter part in me too, man. Being out there by yourself, listening to all that and the weather, and especially when it starts getting bad, and you're like, all right, man, I am really alone here. You know what I mean? Hey, I go down, the local the bear family's not gonna come help me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'll be laying here for a while until I'm food or fodder, whatever comes first.
The backcountry, the mountains, it's intimidating. It is. I mean, when I first started going back there by myself, I was afraid. I'm not, ashamed to admit it. I was afraid back there because, it's tough on your own. People just do not spend time alone these days.
No.
You're always on the phone, or you're always engaged in something, or you're watching TV. When you're just on the mountain by yourself, it's you find out who you really are. It's hard.
Well, I mean, fear is an amazing, unbelievable thing, right? And I've been studying fear now, coming up on 4 years, and what I've found is that we all have it. It's all part of our lives. You gotta have it. It keeps you sharp. But if you don't turn it into something through these amazing experiences and learn to embrace that fear as a driving force to push your focus, to push your performance, to push you at a whole nother level, man, then that fear is going to get the best of you, and you're going to stay put. You're going to be locked to your own limitations.
Well, that's what they teach us, is to how to harness fear, because being afraid is different.
Totally.
Being afraid will cripple you. You go down, you won't do, just blubber and mess. Fear, once you learn how to harness that, and that's why our training's set up from the minute you walk in there, it's beatdowns and failures.
Pain.
Yeah, you're afraid.
Pain.
I was afraid, and then that
Every
fear.
day.
Exactly. If y'all weren't there, I'd been like, man, I don't want to do this. I mean, so being alone out there, out here in Texas, we have Texas prisons. We're known for that. They put a lot of them prisons in the woods because when those convicts try and run, they are so scared of what's out there that they go back.
I love it.
That's done for a reason.
I
mean,
love it.
and it's something. The first time I went out bow hunting by myself in the backwoods, I was like, I'm just going to stand by the fence and act like I went out.
That's awesome.
And when my mom was like, did you go out real far? And I was like, oh, yeah. And she was watching me from the binos at the fence. I was like,
Yeah.
I just kind of hid down. I was like, I'm a man. I'm going to hide right over here. No one's looking.
All right, Ken. So the question now is understanding, all right, in order to become precise, to move into that place where, you know, the mental state can match the physical state and can match the emotional state and all that, or the spiritual state, you know, what did you have to do to elevate, you know, where did the whole performance athlete come, you know, and unify with this performance hunter? At what point did you get that's how it had to be?
I just started noticing that the better shape I was in, the more effective I was on the mountain, you know, and hunting. And you know, you think about it as bow hunting is so difficult, success rate is so low, you know, and I'm not good at failure. I mean, I don't like accepting failure. It doesn't feel good. So I was like, I want to do everything possible to put the odds as much in my favor as I can. And so, you know, it was simple. It was like when I could run a marathon fast, I could get around the mountains pretty good. I didn't get tired. So when I could run, now that I've run 100 miles nonstop in the mountains, now any hunt pales in comparison.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah,
my goal was because everybody's good, you know, or at their best, say the first day of a hunt, right? You're fresh, you're excited, but by the 10th day, you're so beat down and mentally fatigued, and you're pretty much ready to go home. You know, especially if you haven't killed something by then. But my goal was to be as best, or actually better, on the 10th day than I was on the first day, because
Awesome.
by the 10th, you should know the country better because you've been living in it for 10 days. You should be more in tune for the same reason, and you should have a better idea of where the animals are living and how they're patterned.
Hey,
and,
you know what?
their
You're not a hunter,
What?
man. That's the definition of a predator.
Oh, you are predator, hands down.
I mean, I was following you on that one, bro, man, and what you were talking about, because that's what I am too. When I'm out there, that 10th day is like, it's when you start, that's when your teeth get gritty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're like, I have been out here in this environment. I am so camped. That comes from the recon part of what I did, bro.
Yeah, it
And I
does.
mean, that's when the smell starts to get on you, and you're like, oh, I'm an animal now. And I've laid it down so well that now
Love
it's
it.
time for me to attack. That's what
awesome.
the true hunt's about. Those guys who get out there on that 10th day and their butt hurts and all that crap like that, they're just hunters.
Yeah.
You know, because they expect to kill something.
They want to go get back up in that
Predators
tree
go
stand.
hungry. Yeah. I mean, that's you learn that growing up how we did. And then what we did for a living, that's the ultimate form of it, what you and I did.
Absolutely.
You know, what he does is the purest form of it.
Absolutely.
And that's what you described there, pal. So we kind of misidentified you in the beginning. You're not a hunter, man. That's a predator. That's
hands
yeah,
down.
that's what that is.
Hands down. All right. So Cam, to wrap up this final question in this segment right here before we fall off, and then we'll definitely get you back on in the after actions to tell people how do you go about your daily routine, how you train and all that. But the last question right now, in terms of, a grander sense of purpose, right? Because that's really something that Marcus and I really want to help people understand, that in order to really live in that never quit space and have that never quit attitude that fires you in the gut, you got to have that purpose in your heart, right? You got to have it breathing through every orifice of your body.
What you are.
Yeah,
That's
what
what we say, man. It's like you adapt to something or adopt something that you've seen. Just like you're talking about when you're watching that, we do the same thing. When I watch a movie and I see something cool in there, I'm like, oh, that's now a part of me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go train and learn how to do that. Whatever it was, ninja, you name it, man. I was going to figure it out. Yeah, that's where it comes, man. When you have that fire and you see something, you love it so much that you train to where it's what you are.
Amen. So Cam, the question is, what is your purpose now? And what do you want people to hear from you and on your website and when you're on a blog, when you're on our show? What is your purpose, and what do you want people to take away from you?
For me, I just want to make a positive impact on people. People tell me all the time that you're a beast, or it's amazing, what you do, or I guess, and then also some people, there's a lot of haters too that take shots at me, but I get more positive.
Well, that's how you know you're doing something. You're making a difference.
Exactly.
Like you're a badass. When people start coming at you like that, you're like, yeah, here we go.
Yeah. So, and I appreciate all the positive stuff, but for me, what means more to me is just making a positive impact, and just I want people to realize what they're capable of, and so I share my story that I came from nothing. Nobody really believed in me, and I've achieved more than I deserved, and it's just from basically having a chip on my shoulder for a lot of years and just working hard and saying, I mean, I don't want to throw my kids under the bus for down that I could beat Lance Armstrong, but stuff like that motivates me, because I'm like, I know I'm just a dad, or I know I'm just some regular guy, but if I can achieve, what I have, then other people can too. And so I just want them to know that there, like I said earlier, that there's greatness in all of us. And it just, I'm not talented. I just work really hard.
What we like to say, man, is like we're just ordinary people that get in extraordinary situations because we're not afraid of it.
Amen.
That's what you just, that's what you just said, right?
Legit.
I mean, that's awesome. That's exactly what we're about here, man.
All I know is that, if you work hard at something every single day, like I've been, bow hunting now for almost 30 years, and I've worked hard at it every single day, you're going to get good.
Right.
I mean, so you do something that much, you're going to get good. So basically it's just time grinding away. I mean, that's the only reason why I'm where I'm at, and it's just hard work. There's not talent. It's just, grinding
that's called
every
living,
day.
Right? I mean, that's life. You're getting out there and grinding every day. And when it's guys like us and you, man, that come from stuff like that, and you just tell yourself, like, you know what, man, I may not be from nothing, but damn it, I can work like something. You know what I mean? You can't outdo me on that. I wasn't born with anything else.
Every day of the week and twice on Tuesdays.
Yeah, check out this low gear. Yeah, get some. Fucking love you, Cam. You're good to go.
Cam, we that's the end of this segment, man. We'll get you back on here in a jiffy for the after actions. But the last thing I want to do is I want you to tell people what you got going on right now, what you got in the works, and where people can find you and follow you, and where they can basically learn from you, bud.
I'm on all the social media stuff, Instagram, Cameron R. Haynes, and Facebook, Cameron Haynes, and my website, CameronHaynes.com. So, you can get Cameron Haynes overdose if you want, which you probably don't want, but I know I wouldn't. Anyway, you can find out, what I'm up to there. As far as, I get asked a lot, by Cabela's and some of the shops to go and do live Facebook things, because it gets so many people engaged, and I enjoy doing it. It's just, I like having an impact on people, as I mentioned, and I like, people motivate me. I do things here on the mountain that I run, and I say, hey, I'm going to be, running the mountain at noon on Saturday. Come hang out if you want to. And I just like seeing people work hard for no other reason, just to...
Oh, that's got to be inspiring, though, that somebody's going to be busting their ass just to get good enough to get halfway up the mountain to run with you.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, that's tough. And the beauty about you is you run from the bottom to the top, so everybody in that spectrum can run with you.
I love it.
I'll be down there at the bottom with a hot dog.
Well, Cameron, thank you so much for being on Team Never Quit podcast with us. I know you've had an impact on me. One of my favorite things is just following you on Instagram and just looking at the amazing smile you got on your face, because you're living out your dream that you got through working your ass off, through pushing yourself, surrounding yourself with positive people, man. And that fires me up, dude.
Oh, look, you know what? Here's a perfect way to explain that. Cam and I were together a few weeks ago, I guess, at the Under Armour 20-year anniversary, big 20 years, billion-dollar company. The only people invited to it were the employees. It was for them, and it was a surprise deal for KP and Kip, right? Did I say I'm saying that right, Cam? Yeah. But anyways, so they have Vanilla Ice, CNC Music Factory, Nelly, Ray Lou. I mean, just the creme de la creme were here of celebrities. Yeah. And then you had me and Chad Fleming and Cam was standing there. And he's so, he's almost self-deprecating. He's like, I'm just a hunter. You're a predator. We figured that part out already. Yeah. And me and him, both of us have our backs against the wall. We're looking at each other and be like, looking at all these celebrities. Who else was standing there with us, man? Tom Brady. That's who I was talking to. Tom Brady and Cam, and I were standing there going back and forth, and we looked over at each other, and can you believe two redneck? He's bow hunter. I'm a gunfighter. And we were standing on the stage, fixing to go out at an Under Armour deal. That tells you how special he is, man.
He's awesome.
You know what I mean? He downplayed it so much, man, but he always has that grin on his face.
I love it.
And even after the massacre that happened last time you and I went hunting, man, he still had that look. He's like, he'll be all right. I gave up hunting, dude. He goes, no, it'll be all right. I'm like, all right, brother, you just keep talking in that ear because I need it. I'm that guy who needs it. You know what I mean? I may never quit. That doesn't mean anything. It just means I'm too stupid to stop. I have to have people like him and you guys because I will literally run till I die.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
And
that's the beauty about him, man, because he does
it with a smile on his face.
He's like, you want to go for a run? No, not with you, because you want to talk the whole time. I don't talk. I hate running so bad. But all my friends are great at everything that I am not.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? That's why they're my friends.
Well, Cameron, thank you so much, brother. It's just been such a blessing. We feel so honored that you'd come on with us. And man, if there's anything we can do to help you or support you and your efforts, don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. And just thank you, brother.
Oh man, the honor's all mine, guys. Thank you for all you do and the positive impact you're making with the show.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna get you back in the after action. So
brother.
That's all for this episode.
Yeah, great job, brother. We're out.
Dude, was that guy one of the coolest, nicest, humble guys you've ever met?
I told you, man.
You were spot on, bro.
It's kind of hard to explain him because when you have a guy, I think I started telling you about him. Oh, I know I did, about what he's capable of.
Yeah.
So when you tell someone, and that's the first thing they hear about you, then there's nothing. You can't go down from that. Like I was trying to tell you how nice and laid back.
Yeah, I didn't. Because you
see it like right.
No, you see him on social media, and I follow him. I'm a big fan of his. Right, I love anybody that's reached the apex of not only their life, but their sport, whatever of their career. I love that because that person has put that discipline and hard work in. But so I watch him, and he's always in the gym, and he's always and he's always killing things, but. Man, that dude had grace in him, man. I mean, he was cool.
I think you get guys that are so far that the alphas, right? The apexes. There's the alphas, then you go past that, right? To where you break into two different.
It's a whole nother world,
right? You flip the switch.
Yeah.
So if we're working, and that's the thing about, I can say the exact same thing about you. I mean, how happy you are in that spirit. Yeah. Hey, people, he has that, people, but at work, when that evil, that rotten, I'm a team guy. I need to get mean. So imagine that attitude he has all the time with that team guy drive and mentality that you have to have.
Yep.
It made for that's why I remember you.
Yeah.
That person, you're two meshing those personalities together created something that everyone remembers.
Well, here's the thing that killed me about that time, man. I'll never forget, man. I think it was your class too. We went to your graduation party, and we went to some house in PB, and I remember there was some younger medic or something came up to me, and he's just like, Instructor Rutt. I was like, dude, call me Dave, man. We're done, all that. He goes, man, you know what we called you? And I was like, what's up? And he's like, we called you Instructor Two-Face. Because when you got evil, man.
I know, right? And that's supposed to be that way. It gets worse. That's what people, after you think that's cool, I made it through this part of training, they're going to be nice to me. No,
it gets worse.
Matter of fact, that ought to tell you how evil those bastards are because they're not even bunch instructors. They're past that, and they're still like that. Yeah. So these are the real good ones, right?
Totally.
The guys who are really good at laying down the smackdown.
Well, and what it is being passionate about what you do and being able to make sure that you can influence at another level. That's why, like when we were talking to Cameron, he talked about how he put out on social media, "Hey, meet me here at this day. We're gonna go run a mountain."
Yeah.
And people are showing up because they want to be infected by that positivity. They want that never quit mindset to rub off on them.
How brilliant is that? Because he didn't say meet me at the coffee shop. He said meet me running on the mountain. So you know it's not going to be some lazy bastard. And I'm pretty sure the serial killer and everybody in between is not going to want to go do that. So it's only going to be positive, hard charging, right? What's my point?
It's because it brings out the best in
Yeah,
people.
okay, thank you. Yeah, I couldn't get that out.
It brings out the best people who want to be great,
Right.
who want to have the never quit mindset, man.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh man. Listen, the one cool thing is that, and I think Marcus, you and I both heard it, and you mentioned it several times, is that there's a parallel, and he was so humble to say, you know, hey man, I wish I would have been a team guy, right? And there is a parallel between Cam and us, yes. And I think
You know where he would have gone, right?
Oh yeah, right to the top.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I'm talking about as the type of operator. He'd have been an underwater guy because you don't have to talk, right?
Yeah.
Listen to your own thoughts.
Yep.
Or a sniper.
Sniper.
And I say that completely because
You did both.
Oh yeah. I don't ever talk about anything I had.
Yeah. But I'm saying you have a good understanding of what
absolutely.
that is.
That
Yeah.
mentality you have
Yeah.
to. That's why I get along with him really well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I had to develop those same kind of characteristics when you're underwater.
That's a whole
my
nother,
God.
That's a whole nother show,
That's
folks.
if you don't like yourself, you better figure out a way to. You want to learn how to get around that? Go underwater.
And what was cool when we talked about, hey, when you're out there 12 days by yourself in the woods hunting a freaking grizzly bear or a bull elk
Right.
or whatever, what's going through your head? And the discipline, the focus, the determination.
Oh, that's when I was listening to him talk about all that.
Yeah.
And hunters do exactly what he said at the end of that 7th, 8th day. They're ready to go back because they're just there to hunt.
They're just there.
He's a predator.
He is the
Which
apex
means the
predator.
longer you're out there, the better.
Yeah, you
Meaning
get-
I've not only watched everything that animal's doing, I know everything around it.
Yeah. In the environment. You become a
Sure,
part
man.
of the environment.
And when that happens, when you out there and you hunt something like that long enough, those animals don't know you're there. You have become part of his everyday, and that's what a true predator does.
So when the guy's out there and you know, like you're saying, he just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Man, I think of that, man. It makes me remember one of my favorite movies of all time, Apocalypse Now. Remember
Yeah, great
when
movie.
Martin Sheen's in the bedroom and he's a mess and he's waiting for that mission. And he makes that quote about, every minute I'm sitting in this room, I'm getting weaker, and every minute Charlie's in the bush, he's getting stronger.
Yeah. That's great. And I was telling my Major Payne is I've perverted that. That's my apocalypse moment. But he's there and he's nobody messes with Benson Weatherford Payne. Die, I mean, David Wayans is my hero. Major Payne. Oh my God, dude. That got me through 18 Delta. I watched that show
my God.
on tape.
Video cassette.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
rented it from the Blockbuster.
Oh,
and kept it. So I owe Blockbuster some money.
Thank
Is
God
Blockbuster even-
No, they went out of business.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
good, dude.
Because I didn't pay my late fees.
Oh my God! Sorry, Blockbuster. Oh well, listen. I again, man. Marcus, thank you so much for coming up with Cameron and getting him on the show with us.
Oh, man,
and
my
for
pleasure.
all you listeners, let me just sum this up.
Like
for
these
you.
are my the party about it, man. Is we bringing the short list we talk about. They're my friends.
Your close friends.
So I get to hang out with. I mean, that's why I'm always fired up too, and stay the way I do is because this is who I can.
This is who you
surround
are.
myself. Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of this, right? Is they come on this show, people come on, they feel comfortable with us, they want to tell these great stories to help our listeners. And let me just summarize this whole thing for you. If you're struggling with it, you probably haven't because you've been laughing so hard, so you're having a good time. But let me tell you, when you think about Cameron Hanes and you think about what he does and the commitment he has to be the apex predator, to be the best hunter on the planet, and the discipline and the focus with which he does it in ideological positivity, man, that's what you want to try and be.
Man, you know how my mind works, man. So he's ninja.
Unfortunately,
to move through that environment that is not your own, right? Where
No.
you're not
No.
move through all of that with the speed and the ferocity he does, on top of which he's hunting something that moves
With
through
a bow.
Yeah.
It ain't like he's got a bolt gun, brother.
Right. Chasing something that moves through
With those optics.
its natural habitat. I mean, like you would not believe it. I mean, it's amazing to watch whatever it is that he's hunting in that environment move through that environment.
It's
because they
incredible.
disappear walking behind a tree.
Yeah.
And if you've ever hunted from a helicopter, you see what they do,
Wow.
how the animals move,
Right,
and how
right.
they're able to. And it's just what you taught us, what we learned in sniper school
Right.
during the stalking phase. But he literally stalks down and hunts.
Yeah, he does.
The predator.
And he's the best at it.
And the best at it,
And
right?
He's the best at it.
And just laid back, and that's. You know how when you walk across somebody who's the best at what they do?
Yeah.
Because they just sit back with a smile and talk about something else.
Totally.
They don't
They're
have
humble.
to. Everybody else will talk about them for
about them.
If you're going to tell somebody how badass you are, you're not badass.
You're not badass.
Right, yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, man, we're just so privileged that you tuned into our podcast. And listen to Cameron. Please visit his website at CameronHanes.com. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on Facebook. Follow him on Instagram. I mean, his Instagram posts are some of the most beautiful, cool posts you've ever seen. Listen, here's also too, please help us spread the word about this show. Get out there, tell people about Team Never Quit. Send people to our website at teamneverquit.com. Send them to the podcast page at teamneverquit.com/podcast or tnqpodcast.com. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on social media, because our whole mission in life is to help you, your family, your teammates, everyone that you're around and surrounded with, develop that never quit mindset and do it in a way that you're living with purpose, you're disciplined, you're focused, and that you get the best out of life, man. So I just want to thank you. And as Marcus and I do every show, we give a little thanks out there. I want to thank, all my teammates who taught me in the past, all my friends. I want to thank the Wizard, man. I want to thank, Marcus. I want to thank my family, my 2 children, my wife, and most of all, I'd like to thank God. So Marcus, how about you, bud?
I thank God for giving me all of my abilities. Thank you to my friends for helping me discover them. Thank everybody out there for all my teammates for the life that they've given me and the great time that we've had up to this very day, and everybody out there who makes this possible. So thank you for the opportunity to do this.
Absolutely. That's all I got, Marcus.
I'm out.
Never quit. Team Never Quit. Team Never Quit Radio.